Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, even while they sleep, while others work themselves to exhaustion and barely stay afloat? What if I told you the difference isn't how hard you work, but a secret knowledge that's been deliberately hidden from the masses for centuries? The truth is, there exists an ancient wisdom so powerful that it was kept within secret circles, passed down only to a select few who understood its immense value. This knowledge reveals something extraordinary, that true wealth isn't generated through physical labor alone. It's created in the silent hours of the night, while your conscious mind rests and your subconscious takes command. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You go to bed worried about money, tossing and turning with financial anxiety, only to wake up feeling even more drained and further from abundance. There's a reason for this, and it's not what most financial experts will tell you. Your mind is like an invisible alchemist that never stops working. Even when your eyes close and your body rests, this powerful force continues its creations. But here's the crucial part that few understand. This alchemist doesn't distinguish between what builds wealth and what manufactures debt. It simply follows the blueprint you've given it before sleep. The wealthy elite have known this secret for generations. They understand that the last thoughts you entertain before sleeping become the seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. Plant worry, and you'll harvest more reasons to worry. Plant certainty of abundance, and you'll wake to opportunities that seem to materialize from nowhere. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal might completely transform how you approach not just your finances, but the very way you think about the relationship between your mind and material reality. This isn't about working harder or investing smarter, though those things have their place. This is about programming your mind to become a wealth-generating mechanism even while you rest. Think about it. What if every night of sleep could be transformed from mere rest into a powerful ritual of wealth creation? What if the 8 hours you spend in slumber could become your most productive time, not just for rejuvenating your body, but for multiplying your money? The ancient texts that contain this wisdom speak of an invisible door that opens when you close your eyes at night. Behind this door, your mind enters a realm where different laws govern the creation of wealth and abundance. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because once you learn to access this realm intentionally, your relationship with money will never be the same again. This forbidden knowledge explains why some people seem blessed with good luck, while others struggle despite their best efforts. It's not luck at all. It's the result of what happens in those crucial moments before sleep, when your deepest beliefs about money are either reinforced or transformed. This invisible barrier between conscious struggle and effortless abundance isn't just a metaphor, it's a profound reality that shapes your financial destiny. If you're ready to continue this journey of financial transformation, hit the subscribe button now. I reveal piece after piece of this ancient wisdom that will revolutionize your relationship with wealth while you sleep. Don't miss a single revelation that could change your financial destiny forever. What most people don't realize is that entering this realm of wealth creation begins with a simple yet powerful declaration. It's like standing at the threshold of transformation and announcing your presence to the guardians of abundance. By making a conscious declaration, something as straightforward as stating, "I am ready to wake up rich," you're doing something far more significant than merely repeating words. You're signaling to your subconscious mind and the creative forces of the universe that you're prepared to receive this ancient wisdom. Think of this declaration as the key that unlocks the first gate on your journey to financial transformation. It's not about magical thinking, but about aligning your conscious and subconscious desires into a unified field of intention. When these two aspects of your mind work in harmony rather than opposition, the results can be nothing short of remarkable. Now, I want to go even deeper into the mechanics of what happens during those crucial hours of sleep. The most profound revelations often come when we explore the hidden dimensions of everyday experiences we take for granted. When you close your eyes at night, something extraordinary happens. An invisible door opens within you. Behind this mysterious threshold, your mind makes direct contact with what ancient wisdom traditions called the creative universe. This isn't mysticism, it's a psychological reality that modern science is only beginning to understand. Your conscious mind steps aside, and your subconscious, which operates according to entirely different rules, takes center stage. In this realm, time, space, and even money obey different laws than they do in your waking life. The rigid boundaries between possible and impossible become fluid. Think of it as entering a workshop where the raw materials of your thoughts and emotions are crafted into the circumstances you'll encounter tomorrow. The journey to financial abundance requires understanding this profound truth. Your spirit is no longer confined to your physical body during sleep. It travels to a place where manifestation happens according to principles few people understand. While most believe they're simply resting, recharging for another day of struggle, those who've discovered this hidden knowledge know better. They recognize that these hours of sleep represent their greatest opportunity for financial transformation. This revelation changes everything about how you approach bedtime. No longer is it merely the end of a day. It becomes the beginning of your most important wealth-creating ritual. Those final moments before sleep are when you're standing at that invisible doorway, preparing to cross the threshold into the dimension where your financial future is being negotiated in silence. The decisions you make in those moments, what you focus on, what you visualize, what emotions you carry, determine whether you'll wake up to new opportunities or the same old limitations. This insight isn't just about money. It's about reclaiming your personal power and recognizing that your mindset shapes your reality in ways far more profound than most will ever understand. I've guided thousands through this process of transformation, witnessing remarkable shifts in their financial circumstances that seem to happen almost overnight. But the truth is, these overnight successes were actually the result of what happened during those nights, when their minds were properly aligned with the principles of abundance rather than scarcity. The invisible door is waiting for you tonight. The question is whether you'll approach it consciously, with intention, or stumble through it haphazardly, leaving your financial fate to chance. When you begin to treat each night as a sacred opportunity for wealth creation, everything changes. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to cross the invisible door," if you feel something stirring within you as you hear these words. Let me share something profound with you that few people ever realize. While your conscious mind powers down during sleep, your subconscious is entering a state of heightened activity. It's not just processing the day's events, it's actively negotiating your future. Yes, you heard that correctly. These silent negotiations happening beneath the surface of awareness determine whether you'll wake up to new pathways of opportunity or remain tethered to the same limitations that have held you back. This isn't just a metaphor, it's the hidden mechanism behind why some people seem blessed with continuous good fortune, while others remain trapped in cycles of struggle despite their best efforts. Your subconscious mind acts as a tireless negotiator, working with the energetic patterns you've established before sleep. If you've filled that negotiating table with worries about bills, Fears about the future or doubts about your worthiness, those become the bargaining chips it uses to craft your tomorrow. But when you consciously direct this negotiator with images of abundance, certainty of success, and feelings of gratitude for wealth that's already flowing toward you, everything shifts. The negotiations take a different turn entirely, and the results manifest as those lucky breaks and perfect timing moments that seem to happen for people who've mastered this inner alignment. The revelation that continues to transform lives is this: your destiny isn't determined by external circumstances, but by these invisible negotiations happening in the silent chambers of your mind while your body rests. This is just the beginning of the hidden knowledge I'm sharing with this community. Subscribe now to access the complete system of nocturnal wealth creation, from evening rituals to morning activations and everything in between. Join thousands who are already experiencing the power of multiplying money while they sleep. Think of it this way: beneath the surface of your everyday awareness flows a dark, powerful river that most never see and never drink from. This hidden current is your subconscious, constantly moving, shaping the landscape of your life without your conscious direction. The few who discover how to access this river understand it contains everything needed for boundless prosperity. This subterranean flow doesn't pause when you close your eyes at night. Unlike your conscious mind, it requires no rest. It works ceaselessly, processing approximately 11 million bits of information per second compared to the mere 40 bits your conscious mind handles. The sheer magnitude of this processing power is staggering. When you consider its implications for wealth creation, most people live their entire lives never tapping into this force. They struggle on the surface, never realizing that just beneath their awareness exists a wellspring of unlimited potential, a current powerful enough to reshape their financial reality if they only knew how to direct it. The journey to financial mastery begins with acknowledging this river exists within you. Once you recognize its presence, you can learn to access it intentionally rather than allowing it to flow wherever past programming dictates. This is where true transformation begins, not in external strategies, but in this fundamental shift in how you relate to the hidden dimensions of your own mind. The ancient wisdom keepers understood this principle. They knew that whoever discovers the entrance to this hidden river and learns to drink from it understands that abundance isn't something to chase in the external world. It's a current already flowing within, waiting to be channeled in the direction of your choosing. What makes this knowledge so revolutionary is that it doesn't require grueling effort or sacrifice. It doesn't demand that you work longer hours or deplete your energy. Instead, it asks something much simpler but infinitely more powerful: that you redirect your focus before sleep, that you become intentional about the thoughts and feelings you carry into the night. This revelation shifts everything about how we understand wealth creation. No longer is prosperity something that must be pursued at the cost of your well-being or happiness. It becomes the natural result of aligning with the river of abundance that has always flowed within you, silently waiting to be discovered and directed. As you begin integrating this understanding, pay close attention to the subtle shifts that begin occurring in your external reality. The synchronicities, the unexpected opportunities, the solutions that appear precisely when needed. These aren't coincidences, but the first visible signs that your internal realignment is manifesting in the world around you. Write in the comments, "I've discovered the hidden river," if you're beginning to sense the power of this awareness stirring within you. Now let's explore one of the most transformative revelations in this ancient wisdom. Money never sleeps. While you might rest, the energy of wealth is in constant motion, continuously flowing and changing hands, seeking new destinations every moment of every day. This perpetual movement happens regardless of whether you're conscious of it or not. The profound question becomes, During those crucial hours when your body is at rest, will this river of abundance flow toward you or away from you? Most people never consider this, yet it's perhaps the single most important factor determining your financial trajectory. The direction of this flow isn't random or determined by external factors beyond your control. It's governed by something much closer to home, what you hold in your mind during those final moments before surrendering to sleep. This is where the journey of financial mastery truly begins to reveal its deeper dimensions. The thoughts, images, and emotions you entertain before sleeping aren't just fleeting mental events. They're powerful signals being broadcast into the field of infinite possibility. They become the blueprint that your subconscious mind works with throughout the night, attracting or repelling the very prosperity you seek. Consider the profound difference between these two scenarios. In the first, you close your eyes, worried about bills, mentally calculating what you lack, feeling the weight of financial pressure. In the second, you drift off with absolute certainty that abundance is flowing to you, feeling gratitude for the wealth already manifesting in your life, visualizing opportunities unfolding with ease. Same person, same life circumstances, yet these contrasting mental states set in motion entirely different energetic patterns that will materialize in your waking reality. This understanding leads us to another paradigm-shifting concept, the night planting. What you focus on in those precious moments before sleep becomes quite literally your night planting, and the universe acts as an invisible gardener, faithfully cultivating whatever seeds you've sown. This isn't mere positive thinking. It's working with the fundamental creative mechanism of reality itself. If you plant seeds of fear about losing money, those seeds will germinate into more experiences that justify that fear. If you plant seeds of unworthiness or belief in limitation, those too will grow into corresponding circumstances. But when you deliberately plant seeds of certainty about your prosperity, visualizing wealth flowing to you effortlessly, feeling deep gratitude for abundance that's already yours, the universe has no choice but to grow those seeds into tangible prosperity. The revelation that continues to transform lives worldwide is this: your night planting is not optional. Every single night, you are planting something in the fertile soil of your subconscious. The only question is whether you're doing so consciously, deliberately cultivating the prosperity you desire, or unconsciously perpetuating patterns of lack through default thinking. This ancient wisdom illuminates why visualization before sleep is infinitely more powerful than visualization at any other time. When done in those twilight moments between wakefulness and sleep, your visualizations bypass the critical faculty of your conscious mind and plant directly into the fertile soil of your subconscious, the very dimension where reality creation begins. What makes this knowledge so revolutionary is that it works regardless of your current financial circumstances. The person drowning in debt who masters the art of night planting can transform their situation more rapidly than someone with resources who remains unconscious of these principles. This is because true wealth creation begins at the level of energy and consciousness, which then manifests in the physical dimension of experience. The masters of this wisdom tradition understood that prosperity isn't something you chase or pursue, it's something you cultivate from within. They recognized that the invisible dimension of mind is the causative realm, while the physical world of circumstances is merely the effect. By working at the level of cause, your consciousness before sleep, you fundamentally alter what materializes as effect in your waking reality. As you integrate this understanding, begin to observe your thoughts just before sleep. Become aware of what you've been unconsciously planting night after night. Then make a deliberate choice to transform these crucial moments into a conscious ritual of abundance creation. If you're resonating with this wisdom, write in the comments, "I am the gardener of my prosperity," as your declaration of taking command of this powerful creative process. What we're discovering together runs counter to everything mainstream society has taught us about wealth creation. The conventional wisdom says you need to work harder, longer hours, sacrifice more, push yourself to exhaustion. Essentially, that prosperity comes through increased physical effort. But this ancient knowledge reveals a profound alternative. You don't need more sweat and struggle. What you need is to understand how to use the night as your greatest ally. This shift in perspective changes everything. While most people exhaust themselves chasing money during their waking hours, those who understand this hidden wisdom recognize that the most powerful wealth-generating hours are those spent in sleep. When you know how to program your subconscious properly before bedtime, you activate a mechanism that works tirelessly on your behalf while you rest. Think about the revolutionary nature of this revelation. 8 hours of sleep transformed from downtime into the most productive part of your day. While others are wasting their dreams on nightmares of scarcity, worrying about bills, replaying financial setbacks, reinforcing limiting beliefs, you can be using this same time to attract opportunities, inspiration, and abundance. The contrast in outcomes becomes evident almost immediately. Those who go to sleep with anxiety wake up with more reasons to be anxious. Those who enter sleep with certainty of abundance wake up to synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and creative solutions they couldn't access in their conscious state. Same amount of time, dramatically different results, all determined by how you use those final moments before crossing the threshold into sleep. This wisdom reveals the hidden blueprint behind what society mistakenly calls luck or privilege. The truth is far more empowering. These outcomes are available to anyone who learns to harness the creative power of their subconscious mind during sleep. The journey of transformation doesn't end with merely recognizing this invisible door exists. Many people have momentary glimpses of this truth. They might read about it, hear someone mention it, or even experience brief moments of alignment with abundance consciousness. But touching this door with your awareness is just the beginning. The real question, the one that separates those who transform their financial reality from those who remain trapped in limitation, is whether you'll dare to cross it. Crossing this threshold requires more than intellectual understanding. It demands a willingness to challenge your deepest programming around money, worth, and abundance. It asks you to question beliefs that have been reinforced throughout your entire life, beliefs so ingrained they feel like absolute truths rather than learned perspectives. The courage to fully cross this invisible door is what transforms your relationship with wealth permanently. No longer is abundance something external to be chased or pursued. It becomes your natural state, the default setting of your consciousness from which all your actions and decisions flow. This shift doesn't happen through force or strain. It unfolds organically as you consistently align your pre-sleep consciousness with the frequency of prosperity. What makes this inner revolution so powerful is that it works silently, beneath the radar of conscious effort. While outwardly, your life may look the same for a time, inwardly, the architecture of your reality is being completely restructured. The seeds, planted each night, grow in the dark, unseen, until they break through to visible manifestation. The fundamental insight here is that wealth creation is not primarily a physical process of action and acquisition. It's an energetic process of alignment and attraction. When you understand this principle at the deepest level, you realize that programming your subconscious before sleep is not just a helpful practice. It's the foundation of true financial mastery. As we explore this wisdom together, I invite you to observe your own pre-sleep patterns with new awareness. Notice what movies play in your mind as you drift off each night. Pay attention to the emotional tone of these final conscious moments. Begin to recognize that these are not random or meaningless mental events, but powerful commands being given to the most creative force in your existence. If you're feeling this wisdom, awakening something within you, write in the comments, "I choose to cross the invisible door," as your declaration of commitment to this transformative path. Now, I want to go even deeper into what actually happens in those critical moments before sleep. Have you noticed that just as you begin to drift off, certain thoughts seem to arise almost automatically? Thoughts like, what if there isn't enough money to cover next month's expenses? Or, what if that opportunity falls through? Or, what if everything I'm working toward collapses tomorrow? These aren't random mental events. They're manifestations of what ancient wisdom traditions called the dream guardian. Every secret door has a guardian protecting the passage. But here's the revelation that changes everything. This guardian isn't some external monster or demon. It's your own fear taking form. The dream guardian is that voice of doubt, anxiety, and limitation that seems to grow louder precisely when you're approaching the threshold of transformation. It's as if something within you recognizes the power of what lies beyond that door and mobilizes to keep you safely within the confines of your familiar reality, even if that reality is filled with struggle. This understanding illuminates why so many people remain trapped in cycles of financial limitation despite their best efforts. Just as they're about to access the realm where true abundance could be programmed into their subconscious, the guardian appears with its arsenal of worries and what-ifs. Each negative thought it presents seems logical, reasonable, even responsible. Yet these thoughts serve only one purpose: to keep you from crossing the threshold into financial freedom. The wisdom keepers who preserved this knowledge understood something profound about human psychology long before modern science confirmed it. The mind naturally resists what it perceives as the uncertainty of change, even when that change would bring liberation. The guardian isn't malevolent. It's simply performing its programmed function of maintaining the status quo, keeping you safe within familiar limitations rather than venturing into the unknown territory of abundance. Understanding the nature of this guardian is your first step toward neutralizing its power. When you recognize those pre-sleep anxieties not as truth but as a mechanism designed to maintain your current reality, you can begin to engage with them differently. Instead of being captured by their narrative, you can observe them with awareness, acknowledging their presence without surrendering your power to them. This brings us to another powerful metaphor that illuminates how this process works in practice. Imagine standing before a magnificent chest overflowing with gold coins, precious gems, and treasures beyond imagination. This chest represents the unlimited abundance that is your birthright. It's right there before you, available and accessible. But here's the critical insight. Each time you entertain a doubt about your worthiness or ability to receive this wealth, you place another lock on the chest. I don't have the right education. Click. Another lock appears. Money only comes through struggle and sacrifice. Click. Another lock. Financial freedom is for others, not for me. Click. A third lock materializes. Before long, the treasure that was freely available becomes imprisoned behind dozens of locks that you yourself have placed there. This is precisely how your mind works when you give your worries to the night. Each anxious thought, each fear about scarcity, each belief in limitation becomes another lock securing the very abundance you seek behind an increasingly impenetrable barrier. The tragedy is that most people never realize they themselves are the ones placing these locks. They believe their financial struggles are due to external circumstances beyond their control, never recognizing their own role in securing their treasure beyond reach. The profound revelation here is that you can stop adding locks at any moment. More than that, you can actually begin removing them one by one through the conscious reprogramming of your pre-sleep thoughts. This doesn't require fighting against the guardian or forcefully suppressing your fears. Such resistance only strengthens them. Instead, it involves a gentle but powerful shift in focus from what you don't want to what you do want, from scarcity to abundance, from limitation to possibility. When you understand that your mind will work tirelessly throughout the night with whatever final instructions you give it, you begin to approach those precious moments before sleep with reverence and intention. The choice is always yours. Will you continue locking away your abundance, or will you begin the sacred process of reclaiming it? If this perspective is shifting something within you, write in the comments, "No more locks on my treasure," as your declaration of reclaiming your financial birthright. Let's explore one of the most powerful analogies the ancient wisdom keepers used to describe what happens during sleep. They understood something profound that modern neuroscience is only beginning to confirm. Sleep is not merely a passive state of rest. It's an incredibly fertile field where whatever you plant will grow with remarkable speed and efficiency. This fertile ground of sleep operates according to principles very different from your waking consciousness. When you plant seeds in an actual garden, you must wait weeks or months to see results. But the garden of your sleeping mind works on an accelerated timeline. What you plant tonight begins growing immediately, often manifesting in your external reality with surprising swiftness. This is why those who understand this principle are so careful about what they allow into their consciousness before sleep. Here's the crucial insight. Your subconscious mind has no ability to filter, analyze, or reject what you feed it during those final moments before sleep. Unlike your conscious mind, which can evaluate information critically and choose what to believe, your subconscious blindly accepts whatever you present to it as absolute truth. It's like an infinitely powerful but completely obedient servant that executes your commands without question, whether those commands lead to your liberation or your limitation. If you feed it anxiety about paying bills, it diligently cultivates obstacles, creating more situations that justify that anxiety. If you feed it images of increasing wealth, it just as diligently cultivates opportunities that align with those images. The subconscious doesn't judge your instructions as good or bad, realistic or unrealistic. It simply executes them with perfect fidelity. This revelation transforms how you approach that critical transition from wakefulness to sleep. Those final moments become a deliberate choice point rather than a haphazard drift into unconsciousness. What you choose to focus on during this transition isn't just idle thinking. It's a direct programming of the most powerful creative force in your existence. The ancient wisdom texts describe this understanding through another powerful metaphor that illuminates the sacred nature of this practice. They taught that each night represents a sacred ritual, and every thought you entertain before sleep is an offering placed upon the altar of your mind. This isn't poetic language. It's a precise description of the energetic mechanics at work. In ancient temples, worshippers would place offerings on the altar to invoke specific blessings from the divine. The nature of the offering determined the nature of the blessing received. This same principle operates within the temple of your consciousness. Place fear, worry, and limitation on that altar, and you invoke experiences that match those frequencies. Place certainty, gratitude, and visions of abundance, and you invoke experiences that align with that offering. What makes this understanding so transformative is the recognition that this ritual happens regardless of whether you're conscious of it or not. Every single night, you are placing something on the altar of your mind. The only question is whether you're doing so intentionally, with awareness of the consequences, or unconsciously, perpetuating patterns you don't actually desire. When you place fear on that altar, you wake up with chains, limited perspectives, contracted energy, and a sense of being trapped by circumstances beyond your control. When you place certainty and gratitude on that altar, you wake up with doors opening before you, expanded awareness, energetic momentum, and a magnetic attraction to opportunities aligned with your highest vision. This is why the most financially successful people throughout history have had evening rituals they followed religiously, whether they called it prayer, meditation, visualization, or something else entirely. They intuitively understood the power of programming their subconscious before sleep. They recognized that those final moments represent their most direct access to the creative force that shapes their reality. The revelation that continues to transform lives worldwide is that you don't need special abilities or decades of esoteric practice to harness this power. You simply need to approach those final moments before sleep with intention rather than unconscious habit. When you make this shift, you're no longer at the mercy of default programming. You become the conscious creator of your financial reality. As you begin working with this sacred ritual, pay attention to the quality of your mornings. Notice how different your energy feels when you've consciously planted seeds of abundance the night before. Observe how opportunities seem to align more effortlessly, how solutions to problems emerge with greater clarity, how the entire field of your experience begins to reorganize around your intentional offering. If this perspective resonates with something deep within you, write in the comments, "I honor the sacred ritual of sleep," as your commitment to this profound practice of transformation. Now, I want to go even deeper into the practical aspects of working with this wisdom. Even when you understand the power of your pre-sleep consciousness, you'll notice something fascinating. The guardian doesn't simply disappear. This dream guardian, your own fears and doubts, will continue to make appearances, trying to sneak into your mind just before sleep descends. This persistence isn't a sign of failure or weakness. It's simply the nature of deeply ingrained patterns. The breakthrough comes when you realize you don't need to eliminate the guardian completely. You need to disempower it. This happens through a profound shift in how you relate to those doubtful thoughts. Rather than fighting them or being captured by their narrative, you develop the capacity to observe them with awareness. You notice them arise, but instead of identifying with them, you can smile inwardly and declare, "You no longer control me." This declaration isn't merely words. It's a reclamation of your sovereign power over your own consciousness. It's the moment when you recognize that these thoughts are not commands you must obey, but simply old patterns you can acknowledge and release. This shift in relationship to your thoughts creates an entirely new energetic signature that the universe responds to immediately. The wisdom keepers observed a direct correlation between this inner sovereignty and external prosperity. Money, they noted, flows naturally to minds that can rest in confidence. When your consciousness is free from the tyranny of doubt and fear during those crucial pre-sleep moments, you create an unobstructed channel through which abundance can flow. The wealthy aren't necessarily those with the most positive thoughts. They're those who have mastered the art of not being controlled by negative ones. This insight leads us to an even more revolutionary understanding. Fear itself cannot be destroyed or eliminated. It can only be transformed. Many seekers waste precious energy trying to banish fear completely, not realizing this approach actually strengthens what they're trying to overcome. The master's path is not about becoming fearless, but about changing your relationship with fear itself. The guardian of sleep, that voice of doubt and limitation, can actually become your most faithful ally in the journey to prosperity. The same thought patterns that once sowed debilitating doubts can be trained through conscious attention to sow empowering certainties. This alchemy of consciousness represents one of the most powerful transformational tools available to you. Consider how this works in practice. When the thought arises, "I don't have enough money," instead of fighting it or being captured by its story, you can acknowledge its presence and then deliberately transform it. "I'm constantly discovering new ways abundance flows to me." When the doubt whispers, "This financial goal is impossible," you can witness it and reshape it. "I am aligned with the perfect timing of my prosperity." Through this practice of conscious transformation, something remarkable happens. The guardian that once blocked your path to abundance becomes the very force that guards and protects your prosperity. The energy that was once invested in limitation becomes redirected toward expansion. This is the essence of true alchemy, not fighting against what is, but transforming its fundamental nature through the power of consciousness. What makes this approach so much more effective than mere positive thinking is that it doesn't deny the existence of the guardian. It doesn't pretend the fears and doubts aren't there. Instead, it works directly with what is present, bringing the light of awareness to transform rather than reject. This honoring of what is, combined with the conscious direction of energy, creates a powerful alignment that the universe responds to with remarkable swiftness. The journey of financial mastery is not about reaching a point where doubts never arise. It's about developing such a powerful relationship with your consciousness that doubts no longer derail you from your certainty in abundance. It's about training the very guardian that once kept you small to now fiercely protect your vision of prosperity. As you begin working with this practice, pay attention to how different it feels from fighting against your thoughts or forcing yourself to think positive. Notice the subtle but profound shift that occurs when you relate to your fears with awareness and sovereignty rather than resistance or identification. If you're feeling the power of this perspective, write in the comments, "I am transforming my guardian," as your declaration of engaging with this alchemical process. Now, I want to share with you one of the most practical and immediate tools for working with your pre-sleep consciousness. I call it the substitution technique, and it transforms how you handle those moments when fear and doubt arise just before sleep. Imagine your mind as a vast theater with a magnificent stage. In this theater, various thoughts and emotions take their turn in the spotlight, commanding the attention of your consciousness. When fear takes the stage and begins its familiar monologue, "You'll never have enough. Financial security is beyond your reach. You don't deserve abundance." Most people either become completely absorbed in this performance or desperately try to shut down the entire theater. But both approaches actually strengthen fear's hold over your consciousness. The revelation that changes everything is this: you are not merely the audience in this theater, you are the director. As the director, you have the authority to decide who stays on stage and who exits. When fear appears under the spotlight, you don't need to fight against it violently or try to forcibly remove it from the stage. Such resistance only creates more tension and actually amplifies its presence. Instead, you can exercise your directorial power through the art of substitution. When fear begins its performance, you simply bring a more compelling performer onto the stage, one carrying a far more powerful image of prosperity and abundance. This isn't about denying fear's existence. It's about redirecting the spotlight of your attention to what you choose to emphasize and grow. For example, when the thought arises, "I won't have enough to pay my bills," instead of struggling against it, you can introduce a vivid scene of money flowing to you from unexpected sources. See the numbers in your bank account increasing. Feel the relief and joy of abundance. Make this new image so compelling, so rich with detail and emotion, that it naturally commands center stage while fear fades into the background. This approach works with remarkable effectiveness because of a fundamental principle of consciousness. What you focus on expands. The thought that receives the energy of your attention is the one that grows in influence. By consciously directing your attention through substitution rather than resistance, you transform the entire energetic ecosystem of your mind before sleep. The power of this technique is amplified exponentially by another revelation about how your subconscious mind operates. It doesn't distinguish between what's objectively real and what's vividly imagined. To your subconscious, a powerfully imagined scene carries the same programming impact as an actual experience. This is why visualization is far more than just positive thinking. It's actual neurological and energetic reprogramming. Your subconscious responds not to the logical content of your thoughts, but to their emotional intensity. It doesn't analyze whether your visualization of financial abundance is realistic according to your current circumstances. It simply registers the emotional signature of that visualization and begins reorganizing your perceptions, inspirations, and opportunities to align with that signature. This insight explains why two people can use identical affirmations with completely different results. One person might mechanically repeat, "I am wealthy and abundant," while inwardly feeling doubt and scarcity. Another might say the exact same words while feeling genuine gratitude and certainty. Though the words are identical, the emotional signatures are worlds apart, and it's the emotional signature that your subconscious obeys. If your abundance emotion becomes stronger than your fear emotion, something remarkable happens. The guardian of doubt that once blocked your prosperity now kneels in service to your vision. The very energy that was invested in limitation becomes redirected toward expansion. This isn't metaphorical. It's a tangible shift in your energetic relationship with prosperity that begins manifesting in your external circumstances with surprising speed. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it doesn't require years of disciplined practice or complex techniques. It simply asks you to become conscious of what's already happening in your mind before sleep and to exercise your innate power of direction and focus. When you master this art of emotional substitution, you fundamentally transform the instructions being given to your subconscious throughout the night. As you begin working with the substitution technique, pay attention to the qualitative difference between forcing yourself to think positive and actually directing your focus toward what you choose to grow. Notice how different it feels to substitute rather than suppress. This subtle distinction makes all the difference between struggle and flow in your journey toward prosperity. If this perspective illuminates something for you, write in the comments, "I am the director of my minds and theater," as your declaration of reclaiming this creative power. Let me share a profound insight about this transformation process that many miss entirely. When working with your pre-sleep consciousness, there's a subtle but critical distinction between suppressing the guardian and repurposing it. This isn't about denying that part of you that generates fear and doubt. It's about giving it an entirely new assignment. Think of it as a powerful redirection of energy rather than an attempt to eliminate something that's actually an integral part of your psyche. Consider this: that guardian, the voice of caution and protection, has been performing an important function in your life. It's been trying to keep you safe by alerting you to potential dangers and pitfalls. The problem isn't its existence, it's that it's been misdirected. Previously, this guardian protected scarcity with your fears. It vigilantly maintained your limitation by constantly reinforcing boundaries and generating scenarios of what might go wrong. The breakthrough comes when you recognize you can reassign this powerful force rather than fight against it. Through conscious direction, you can gradually train this same guardian to protect your wealth and abundance with the same vigilance it once used to protect your scarcity. This is true psychological alchemy, not eliminating an energy, but transmuting its fundamental nature and purpose. When you consistently use the substitution technique we discussed, you're essentially retraining this guardian, giving it new instructions about what's truly valuable and what deserves protection. Over time, the very force that once generated scenarios of loss and limitation begins generating scenarios of opportunity and expansion. The guardian that once whispered, "Be careful, you might lose what little you have," begins whispering, "Be attentive, you're attracting even greater abundance." This shift represents one of the most profound revelations in the journey of consciousness, that nothing within you needs to be rejected or destroyed. Every aspect of your psyche, when properly understood and directed, can serve your highest vision of prosperity and fulfillment. The shadow, when brought into the light of awareness, becomes not an adversary, but an ally of extraordinary power. Now, let's explore another transformative concept that works hand in hand with this repurposing of the guardian. Imagine that each night before sleeping, you hold in your hands a golden seed, small, brilliant, containing within it infinite power and potential. This seed represents your last conscious thought of the day, the final impression you deliver to your subconscious before surrendering to sleep. The ancient wisdom keepers understood something profound about the nature of consciousness. This final thought carries a disproportionate impact on your subconscious programming. It's as if the transition into sleep creates an opening where this seed can be planted, directly into the most fertile soil of your mind, bypassing the usual filters and resistance of your waking consciousness. What makes this golden seed so powerful is that it doesn't require elaborate visualization sequences or complex affirmations. It can be as simple as a single clear image held with emotional intensity, a brief statement felt with absolute certainty, or even a moment of pure gratitude for the abundance already flowing into your life. The key is not complexity, but clarity and emotional resonance. When you consciously choose this golden seed, rather than allowing it to be selected by default programming or random mental drift, you're exercising perhaps the most influential point of creation in your entire day. This single act, choosing what you plant in those final moments, can eventually reshape your entire financial reality. The revelation that has transformed countless lives is this: no matter how challenging your day has been, no matter how many setbacks you've encountered, you always retain the sovereign power to choose the golden seed you'll plant before sleep. This means that every single night represents a fresh opportunity to redirect your financial trajectory, to plant what you want to grow rather than what you've grown by default. Those who master financial abundance understand this principle at the deepest level. They approach those final moments before sleep with the same attention and reverence that a master gardener approaches the planting of rare and precious seeds. They recognize that this isn't merely a mental exercise, it's a direct engagement with the creative force that shapes their material reality. As you begin working with your golden seed, experiment with different forms, images, statements, feelings of gratitude, to discover which creates the most powerful resonance for you personally. Notice how your dreams begin to shift, how your waking inspiration changes, how synchronicities related to your prosperity start appearing, and beginning to flourish in the fertile soil of your subconscious. If you're feeling the truth of this wisdom stirring something within you, write in the comments, "I plant my golden seed tonight," as your commitment to this transformative practice. Now, let's explore what actually happens when this golden seed is planted in your consciousness. Unlike seeds in the physical world that might take months to germinate, this golden seed begins its work immediately in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. The moment it's planted, in those twilight moments between wakefulness and sleep, A profound process of germination begins that continues throughout your sleeping hours. This is where the true alchemy of transformation takes place. Your subconscious mind, freed from the constraints and distractions of your waking awareness, begins nurturing and developing whatever seed you've planted. The nature of what grows is determined entirely by what you've chosen to plant. Plant fear and thorns grow, creating barriers and obstacles to your prosperity. Plant doubt and shadows germinate, obscuring opportunities that might otherwise be clearly visible. But plant certainty of wealth and abundance flowers, creating pathways and possibilities that align perfectly with your vision. The mechanism at work here isn't mystical or supernatural. It's the natural function of your subconscious mind, which operates according to immutable principles. Your subconscious doesn't evaluate or judge the seeds you plant. It simply provides the conditions for them to grow with perfect fidelity to their nature. This is why the conscious selection of your golden seed represents perhaps the most significant point of leverage in your entire journey toward financial abundance. What's particularly revealing about this process is how few people approach it with conscious intention. Consider what most people do before sleep. They review the bills they haven't paid, replay conversations that upset them, worry about financial challenges they're facing, or passively absorb negative news about the economy. From the perspective of the ancient wisdom we're exploring, this is equivalent to burying trash and toxic waste in a sacred garden and then wondering why beautiful flowers don't grow. The revelation that transforms lives is the recognition that this process occurs whether you're conscious of it or not. Every night, you're planting something in the fertile soil of your subconscious. The only question is whether you're doing so intentionally, with awareness of the consequences, or by default, allowing whatever random concerns and worries happen to be cycling through your mind to become the blueprint for your financial future. The path to mastery begins with a simple but profound shift, choosing your golden seed each night with deliberate intention. This seed might take different forms for different people. A clear mental image of your prosperity, an affirmation spoken with conviction, a feeling of gratitude for abundance already manifesting, or a brief visualization of a specific financial goal already accomplished. The form matters less than the emotional resonance it carries. This emotional component cannot be overemphasized. A golden seed planted with genuine feeling grows with exponentially greater power than one planted mechanically or as a mere intellectual exercise. Your subconscious responds to the vibrational quality of your thoughts, not their logical content. When your chosen seed carries a genuine emotional charge, whether that's certainty, gratitude, joy, or peaceful confidence, it receives an immense boost in its germination power. The wisdom traditions that preserved this knowledge understood that this practice isn't just about changing your thoughts. It's about fundamentally altering your relationship with the creative force that shapes your material reality. When you consciously select and emotionally charge your golden seed each night, you're not merely thinking differently about money. You're engaging directly with the causal level of financial manifestation. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it bypasses much of the resistance and limitation that occurs at the conscious level. While your waking mind might argue with new ideas about prosperity or reject them based on past experiences, your subconscious accepts whatever is planted with sufficient emotional intensity. This creates a direct pathway to reprogramming your deepest beliefs about money, wealth, and your worthiness to receive abundance. As you begin working with this practice, pay attention to the subtleties of how different seeds affect your sleep quality, your dream content, and most importantly, your waking experience. Notice how your perception of financial opportunities begins to shift, how your intuitive guidance about money becomes clearer, how your emotional relationship with wealth starts to transform. These are all signs that your golden seed is taking root and beginning to influence the very fabric of your reality. If this approach resonates with something deep within you, write in the comments, "I plant seeds of abundance, not limitation," as your declaration of commitment to this transformative practice. Now, I want to go even deeper into the actual mechanics of how to make this golden seed flourish with extraordinary power. Beyond simply choosing what to plant, there's an art to creating the kind of vivid visualization that your subconscious finds irresistible. The masters of this practice understand that vague, abstract thoughts about prosperity have minimal impact compared to detailed, sensory-rich mental scenes that feel almost tangible in their reality. The key is specificity and sensory engagement. Rather than merely thinking, "I want more money," visualize waking up to a specific notification on your phone about an unexpected deposit into your account. See the exact amount. Feel the surge of gratitude and excitement as you recognize what this means for your financial freedom. Imagine calling someone you trust to share the good news, hearing their voice respond with joy. Or perhaps visualize finding an opportunity that perfectly aligns with your skills and passions. See yourself reading the details, feeling the certainty that this is meant for you, experiencing the satisfaction of applying or accepting the offer. Alternatively, see yourself closing a significant deal, shaking hands with the other party, signing the documents, feeling the profound sense of accomplishment and the immediate expansion of your financial possibilities. What makes these visualizations so powerful is their multidimensional quality. You're not just creating a flat mental picture. You're crafting an immersive experience that engages multiple senses and triggers genuine emotional responses. When your visualization reaches this level of clarity and impact, your subconscious mind has no choice but to accept it as a blueprint for manifestation. It doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one. Both create similar neural pathways and energetic signatures. This is why the ancient wisdom keepers emphasized the importance of developing this visualization capacity. They understood that the more real you can make your internal experience of abundance, the more rapidly it materializes in your external reality. This isn't magical thinking, it's working with the actual mechanisms through which consciousness creates experience. The beauty of this approach is that it leverages the natural functioning of your mind rather than fighting against it. Your brain is already constantly creating detailed simulations of potential futures. The only question is whether these simulations are happening by default, based on past programming, or by conscious design, aligned with your highest vision of prosperity. Yet even the most vivid visualization remains dormant without the activation of the second critical element in this process. The golden seed is now in the fertile soil of your subconscious, but every seed, no matter how perfect, needs water to grow. In this ancient system of manifestation, the water that irrigates your night planting is your emotion. This revelation transforms how you approach the entire process of pre-sleep programming. Thought is the seed. Emotion is the water that brings it to life. Without genuine emotion infusing your visualizations or affirmations, they remain like seeds scattered on dry ground, potentially valuable, but unable to germinate and flourish. With the proper emotional irrigation, even a simple seed can grow into an abundant harvest of prosperity. What makes emotion so powerful as a catalyst for manifestation is that it creates a vibrational signature that extends far beyond your physical body. While your thoughts remain largely confined to your personal field, your emotions generate ripples that interact with the broader energetic fabric of reality. These emotional frequencies act as magnets, attracting circumstances, opportunities, and connections that resonate with their particular signature. The ancient wisdom traditions recognized this when they taught that the universe responds not to your words or even your thoughts, but to the feeling tone of your being. This is why two people can visualize identical outcomes with dramatically different results. One person might mentally picture financial abundance while feeling underlying doubt or unworthiness. Another might hold the same mental image while experiencing genuine gratitude and certainty. Though the seeds appear identical, the difference in emotional watering creates entirely different results. The revelation that continues to transform lives worldwide is that genuine emotion cannot be faked or manufactured. It must arise authentically from within. This is why mechanical repetition of affirmations or visualizations often yields minimal results. The subconscious isn't fooled by intellectual exercises devoid of genuine feeling. It responds to the authentic vibration of your emotional state, regardless of the words or images you consciously present. Mastery of this principle doesn't require becoming more emotional in general. It requires developing a more conscious and intentional relationship with the emotions you already have. It involves learning to generate authentic feelings of gratitude, certainty, joy, or peaceful confidence related to your prosperity, even before its physical manifestation. This capacity to feel the reality of what you're creating before its visible appearance is the hallmark of true manifestation mastery. As you continue exploring this ancient wisdom, begin paying attention to the emotional quality you bring to your pre-sleep visualizations. Notice whether you're merely going through the motions or genuinely engaging your heart in the process. The difference between these two approaches, intellectual exercise versus emotional embodiment, represents the difference between planting seeds in dry soil versus providing them with the perfect conditions to flourish. If you feel yourself awakening to the power of emotional alignment in your prosperity practice, write in the comments, "I water my vision with genuine emotion," as your commitment to this transformative understanding. Let me illuminate a profound misunderstanding that prevents most people from activating the full power of this ancient wisdom. Many approach prosperity consciousness as primarily a mental exercise, thinking that if they simply repeat the right phrases or visualize the right images, their financial reality will transform. But this approach misses the crucial relationship between thought and emotion in the manifestation process. The wisdom keepers explained this relationship through a perfect metaphor. Thought is the seed, while emotion is the water that nourishes it. Without emotion, thought withers and dies, remaining merely an intellectual concept without manifestation power. With genuine emotion, thought flourishes, growing rapidly into tangible reality. This distinction explains why two people can practice identical visualization techniques with dramatically different results. Consider how many well-intentioned seekers approach abundance work. They diligently repeat phrases like, "Money flows to me easily," or "I am a magnet for prosperity," while their emotional body remains completely disconnected from these statements. They're essentially planting seeds in the fertile soil of their subconscious, but never watering them. The seeds are present, but without emotional nourishment, they remain dormant, unable to germinate and grow into the reality they desire. This revelation transforms how you approach your entire financial consciousness practice. The effectiveness of your pre-sleep programming isn't determined by the sophistication of your visualization or the eloquence of your affirmations. It's determined by the emotional resonance these mental seeds create within you. A simple thought infused with authentic feeling will manifest more powerfully than an elaborate visualization performed mechanically. Your subconscious, this incredible creative force within you, doesn't respond to empty words recited without feeling. It responds to authentic vibrations that permeate your entire being. This explains why people can attend dozens of prosperity seminars, read hundreds of manifestation books, and still see minimal change in their financial reality. If the emotional component is missing, the subconscious receives no clear instruction to create change. The secret that transforms this entire process is learning to ignite a real emotion before sleeping, whether that's gratitude, joy, or a sense of security, that your body actually feels at a physiological level. This isn't about manufacturing fake feelings or forcing yourself to feel something you don't. It's about finding authentic access points to genuine emotional states related to prosperity. For example, instead of trying to feel grateful for millions of dollars that haven't manifested yet, which might feel inauthentic, you might connect with sincere gratitude for the prosperity you already experience in any form, whether that's having a place to sleep, food to eat, or opportunities to grow. This authentic gratitude, however small its initial focus, creates a vibrational signature that your subconscious recognizes and amplifies. Similarly, you might access genuine joy by recalling a time when you received unexpected money, remembering the exact feeling of that moment and allowing it to expand in your awareness. Or you might cultivate authentic security by connecting with a deep knowing that you've always been provided for in the past and will continue to be in the future. The specific emotion matters less than its authenticity. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it works with your natural emotional landscape rather than trying to force feelings that aren't genuinely present. When your emotional body aligns with your mental programming, something remarkable happens. The seeds you plant at night receive perfect nourishment, and your subconscious has all it needs to transform your financial reality while you sleep. The ancient texts describe this alignment as a sacred marriage between thought and feeling, mind and heart, masculine and feminine energies. When these aspects work in harmony rather than opposition, your manifestation power increases exponentially. This marriage creates a resonance that extends beyond your physical body, interacting with the very fabric of reality to attract corresponding experiences into your life. As you continue exploring this wisdom, pay particular attention to how different your pre-sleep practice feels when you prioritize emotional authenticity over intellectual correctness. Notice the qualitative difference between mechanically visualizing prosperity versus genuinely feeling it in your body. This subtle shift from thinking about abundance to emotionally embodying it represents the difference between perpetual seeking and actual manifestation. The most financially magnetic people aren't those with the most elaborate visualization techniques or the most perfectly worded affirmations. They're those who have developed the capacity to generate authentic emotional resonance with prosperity, regardless of their current circumstances. This ability to feel wealthy before external evidence appears is the true mastery of consciousness that transforms financial reality from the inside out. If you're feeling an intuitive recognition of this truth about authentic emotion, write in the comments, "I embody the vibration of abundance," as your declaration of aligning with this powerful principle. Now I want to go even deeper into the transformative state that the ancient masters considered the pinnacle of pre-sleep consciousness. They taught something profoundly simple, yet incredibly powerful. Before sleeping, one should enter a state of gratitude so deep and encompassing that the entire body relaxes, as if everything desired were already accomplished. This isn't merely a pleasant feeling. It's a precise, energetic alignment that acts as a silent magnet for prosperity while you sleep. Consider what happens physiologically when you enter this state of profound gratitude. Your breathing naturally slows and deepens. Tension releases from your muscles. Your nervous system shifts from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, rest and digest, dominance. stress hormones decrease while beneficial neurochemicals increase. Your brain waves begin to shift from the beta patterns of normal waking consciousness toward the alpha and theta patterns associated with deep relaxation and heightened receptivity. But what makes this state so revolutionary for wealth creation isn't just its physiological benefits, it's the energetic signature it creates. When you achieve this level of grateful relaxation, your entire being broadcasts a frequency that communicates to the universal intelligence, all is well, I am complete, I am in perfect harmony with abundance. This broadcast doesn't happen at the level of words or thoughts, it happens at the level of vibration. This understanding reveals one of the most profound insights about the relationship between consciousness and material reality. Money doesn't respond to your empty wishes, hopes, or even your most elaborate plans. It responds to the intensity and coherence of your vibrational signature. The universe doesn't listen to your words, it listens to your frequency. This isn't metaphorical, it's the actual mechanism through which consciousness creates experience. Think about how this explains the puzzling phenomenon we've all observed. Some people seem to effortlessly attract financial opportunities despite minimal conscious focus on money, while others obsessively chase wealth yet remain trapped in scarcity. The difference isn't in their external actions, but in their internal frequency. Those who naturally attract abundance maintain a vibrational signature aligned with prosperity, often without even realizing they're doing so. The wisdom traditions describe this as an energetic law, as immutable as gravity. Just as gravity doesn't care whether you believe in it or not, it simply operates according to its nature. The law of resonance and attraction doesn't require your belief to function. It responds to the actual frequency you're broadcasting, regardless of what you think you're communicating. This revelation transforms how you approach your entire relationship with wealth. Rather than focusing primarily on external strategies and actions, you begin to recognize the paramount importance of your internal vibrational state. This doesn't mean external action becomes irrelevant. It means that action flowing from aligned consciousness produces exponentially greater results than action arising from frequency patterns of lack, struggle, or desperation. The masters who preserved this knowledge understood something about the nature of reality that modern quantum physics is only beginning to verify. At the most fundamental level, everything, including material wealth, is energy vibrating at different frequencies. When you adjust your own energetic broadcast through conscious emotional alignment, you literally tune into different potential experiences and outcomes. This understanding completely recontextualizes what you're doing in those precious moments before sleep. You're not merely engaging in a pleasant visualization exercise or a positive thinking practice. You're deliberately calibrating your energetic broadcast to interface with the abundance frequencies of the universe while your conscious mind steps aside, allowing this alignment to work without interference. The revelation that continues to transform lives worldwide is that this state of deep gratitude and relaxation isn't something you need to force or manufacture. It arises naturally when you release resistance to receiving abundance. Much of what prevents people from experiencing this alignment is their unconscious resistance to prosperity, beliefs about unworthiness, fear of responsibility, concerns about how others might judge their success, and other subtle forms of energetic friction. As you continue exploring this wisdom, experiment with releasing these forms of resistance before sleep. Notice what it feels like to completely surrender to the possibility that abundance is your natural state, not something you need to strive for or prove yourself worthy of receiving. This surrender isn't passive. It's the most powerful stance you can take in relation to prosperity consciousness. The pre-sleep practice then becomes less about trying to make something happen and more about allowing yourself to be in natural alignment with what already wants to flow to you. It's about removing the blocks and interference patterns that have disrupted your natural resonance with abundance. If this perspective awakens something within you, this understanding that the universe responds to your frequency rather than your words, write in the comments, "I am tuning to the frequency of wealth," as your declaration of aligning with this powerful universal principle. Now I want to bring together everything we've explored so far into a clear, practical formula you can apply tonight. The ancient wisdom keepers distilled this entire process down to 3 essential steps that, when followed with consistency, transform your financial reality while you sleep. This is the formula for what they called nocturnal planting, the art of consciously programming your subconscious mind to multiply your money during sleep. The formula is elegantly simple yet profoundly powerful. Plant the seed with a clear thought. Water it with true emotion. Deliver it to the night with total confidence. Each component of this trinity serves a critical function in the manifestation process, and when all 3 align, the results can appear almost miraculous in their speed and precision. A clear thought means a specific, focused mental image or statement about your prosperity, not a vague wish or a general desire for more money, but a crystallized vision of exactly what you're creating. The clearer and more specific this thought seed, the more precisely your subconscious knows what to manifest. True emotion, as we've explored, is the water that brings this seed to life. The authentic feeling that infuses your thought with manifestation power. Without this emotional component, the seed remains dormant, regardless of how clear or elaborate it might be. Delivering it to the night with total confidence means releasing your seed into the fertile darkness of sleep without doubt, without second-guessing, without the need to control exactly how it will grow. This confidence isn't arrogance or forced positivity. It's a quiet, unshakable trust in the perfect functioning of your subconscious mind and the universal laws of manifestation. When you master this 3-part formula, you activate a creation process that continues working throughout your sleeping hours, reorganizing your energy field to attract precisely what you've planted. This isn't wishful thinking or mere psychology. It's working with the actual mechanics through which consciousness creates reality. Yet even with this powerful formula, we must acknowledge a truth that the ancient wisdom keepers understood with remarkable clarity. Every planting faces risks. Even the golden seed, carefully chosen and properly watered with emotion, can be threatened by hidden forces that seek to undermine your prosperity consciousness. These are what the wisdom traditions called the invisible plagues, subtle but powerful influences that can destroy your inner garden before it has a chance to flourish. These invisible plagues don't take physical form. They can't be seen under a microscope or captured in a laboratory, yet their impact on your financial manifestation is as real and tangible as any material obstacle. They operate silently in the background of your consciousness, often without your awareness, sabotaging your prosperity, even as you consciously work to create it. What exactly are these invisible plagues? They're thought forms and emotional patterns that you've inherited or absorbed throughout your life. Beliefs about money, worth, and abundance that run contrary to what you're consciously trying to create. Phrases like "money is hard to earn," "rich people are unethical," "I don't deserve abundance," or "there's never enough" become like insidious parasites in your mental ecosystem, devouring the seeds of prosperity you're attempting to plant. The truly fascinating revelation is that most of these thought patterns aren't even yours originally. They've been passed down through generations of your family, reinforced by educational systems, perpetuated by media, and normalized by society. Like a computer running invisible background programs that consume processing power, these inherited beliefs operate beneath your conscious awareness, draining your manifestation energy and redirecting it toward creating more. Scarcity. Imagine planting the most perfect seeds in your garden, watering them faithfully, ensuring they get optimal sunlight. But unknown to you, the soil itself contains parasites that consume the seeds before they can germinate. This is precisely what happens when you practice prosperity consciousness while invisible plagues remain active in your mental ecosystem. The journey of financial mastery, therefore, isn't just about adding new, empowering beliefs. It's equally about identifying and neutralizing these invisible plagues that have been undermining your prosperity from within. This isn't about blaming yourself or others for these inherited patterns. It's about bringing awareness to what has remained hidden, recognizing these thought forms not as truth, but as programs that can be updated and transformed. The wisdom keepers taught that awareness itself is the most powerful antidote to these invisible plagues. When you shine the light of conscious attention on these hidden patterns, they begin to lose their grip on your subconscious. Simply recognizing this belief that money is struggle isn't my truth, it's a program I inherited, begins the process of energetic liberation that allows your prosperity seeds to flourish unimpeded. If you're feeling that revelation of identifying these hidden plagues in your own consciousness, write in the comments, "I am clearing the invisible plagues from my garden," as your declaration of freeing yourself from these inherited limitations. Let's examine more closely the nature of these invisible plagues that threaten your prosperity consciousness. What makes them particularly insidious is that they masquerade as your own thoughts, when in reality they're inherited patterns that were never yours to begin with. These aren't physical entities, but thought forms and emotional frequencies that have been passed down through generations, absorbed from your environment, or installed through cultural conditioning. Listen carefully to the specific voices that arise when you begin working with prosperity consciousness. You're poor and always will be. Money is hard to get and harder to keep. You don't deserve to prosper. Wealth is only for the privileged few. You have to struggle and sacrifice to earn money. These statements may seem like your own thoughts, but when you examine them closely, you'll recognize they're actually foreign implants in your consciousness, voices that don't truly belong to you, but have taken up residence in your mind like parasites. The revelation that transforms lives is recognizing the origin of these thoughts. That critical voice telling you prosperity is beyond your reach isn't your authentic self speaking. It's the voice of a parent who struggled financially and passed on their fears. That belief that money requires painful sacrifice isn't your truth. It's a cultural narrative programmed into you through countless stories, films, and conversations. That feeling of unworthiness around abundance isn't your natural state. It's an emotional frequency you absorbed from others who themselves inherited it. Understanding this distinction between your authentic consciousness and these inherited patterns creates an immediate shift in your relationship to prosperity. You begin to see that the limitations you've experienced weren't personal failures or cosmic punishments. They were the natural outworking of mental and emotional programming that was never aligned with your true nature as a being designed for abundance. This recognition leads to perhaps the most liberating truth in the entire journey of financial transformation. You don't have to fight against these plagues or struggle to overcome them through force or willpower. The good news, the revelation that has freed countless seekers from generational patterns of lack, is that there's a simple but profound antidote: consciousness itself. The wisdom keepers understood something about the nature of these Thought parasites that modern psychology is only beginning to confirm. They cannot survive the light of aware attention, just as certain organisms can only flourish in darkness and immediately begin to wither when exposed to light. These invisible plagues begin to lose their power the moment you shine the light of conscious awareness upon them. Simply detecting these voices as they arise and declaring, "This doesn't belong to me," is enough to begin weakening their hold on your consciousness. This isn't a metaphor or positive thinking technique. It's a precise description of what happens energetically when you withdraw your identification from these inherited patterns. Without your unconscious agreement and participation, they cannot maintain their influence over your financial reality. Think about the revolutionary nature of this understanding. You don't need years of therapy, complex techniques, or elaborate rituals to free yourself from these inherited limitations. You need only the sword of discernment that comes with conscious awareness, the ability to recognize this is not my truth when these voices arise. This simple but powerful act of disidentification creates an energetic separation between your authentic self and these foreign implants. The masters who preserved this knowledge observed that this practice of conscious recognition needs to be especially diligent during those twilight moments before sleep. This is when the guard of your conscious mind begins to relax, creating an opening where these invisible plagues often attempt to reassert their influence. By maintaining awareness as you transition towards sleep, you can prevent these parasitic thought forms from contaminating the fertile soil where your prosperity seeds are planted. What makes this approach so transformative is that it works with the actual mechanics of consciousness rather than against them. You're not trying to force positive thinking or suppress negative thoughts, both approaches that often strengthen what they attempt to overcome. Instead, you're simply bringing light to what has remained hidden, creating a natural separation between your authentic prosperity consciousness and the inherited limitations that have kept it constrained. As you continue exploring this wisdom, begin noticing how different it feels to observe these voices with awareness versus being unconsciously identified with them. There's a profound shift that occurs when you can hear the thought, "Money is always a struggle," and recognize it not as your truth, but as programming installed by others. This shift in relationship to your thoughts, from unconscious identification to conscious observation, represents one of the most powerful leverage points in your journey toward financial freedom. The practice is simple, but requires consistency. Whenever you notice these limiting voices arise, especially before sleep, simply acknowledge them without judgment and declare, "This is not mine. I see you, but I do not claim you." This act of conscious disidentification creates the space for your authentic prosperity consciousness to emerge and flourish. If you feel this awareness awakening within you as you recognize these foreign voices, write in the comments, "I can see what isn't mine," as your declaration of this powerful discernment. Now I want to go even deeper into the unique relationship between your conscious and subconscious mind in this process of nocturnal wealth creation. There's a crucial distinction here that transforms your entire approach to prosperity programming. Your subconscious mind, while incredibly fertile and powerful, lacks discernment. It simply obeys whatever it receives without questioning or filtering. Like rich soil that will grow whatever seeds are planted, whether nourishing crops or poisonous weeds, your subconscious faithfully manifests whatever patterns you deliver to it. This revelation illuminates why so many well-intentioned prosperity practices yield minimal results. When people attempt to program abundance while their subconscious remains contaminated with invisible plagues, they're essentially trying to grow roses in soil filled with parasites. The subconscious cannot distinguish between empowering and limiting patterns. It simply grows whatever has been planted most consistently and with the strongest emotional charge. Your conscious mind, however, serves an entirely different function in this ecosystem of creation. It acts as your guardian with a torch, the awareness that can illuminate what remains hidden in the shadows of your deeper consciousness. This guardian role represents one of your most powerful assets in the journey toward financial transformation. While your subconscious cannot discern between beneficial and harmful patterns, your conscious awareness can shine light precisely where it's needed, revealing what would otherwise remain invisible. When you deliberately direct the torch of your awareness to illuminate these inherited thought patterns and emotional frequencies, something remarkable happens. The plagues that have been destroying your prosperity seeds begin to disappear. This isn't metaphorical or wishful thinking. The frequencies that maintain these limiting patterns literally cannot sustain themselves in the presence of clear, aware consciousness. They require darkness and unconsciousness to maintain their grip on your creative energy. Think about the profound implications of this. Understanding. You don't need complex techniques or years of discipline to eliminate these prosperity-blocking patterns. You need only the deliberate application of conscious awareness to what has remained hidden. This is why the practice of mindful observation before sleep becomes so transformative. It allows you to systematically illuminate and dissolve what would otherwise continue sabotaging your financial manifestation throughout the night. The ancient wisdom keepers distilled this profound principle into a practice of remarkable simplicity and power. They taught, what repeats in your mind without your permission is not yours. Return it to the void. This statement contains an entire technology of consciousness transformation that can revolutionize your relationship with prosperity. The first part, recognizing that what repeats without your permission is not truly yours, creates the critical separation between your authentic self and these inherited patterns. This recognition isn't merely philosophical. It creates an actual energetic distinction that begins the process of liberation. The moment you recognize this limiting belief about money isn't actually mine, you create space between yourself and the pattern, weakening its hold on your creative energy. The second part, returning it to the void, describes the actual energetic release that occurs when you withdraw your identification from these patterns. The void isn't nothingness or emptiness as we typically understand. It's the unmanifested field of pure potential from which all creation emerges. When you consciously return these foreign implants to the void, you're essentially saying, I no longer wish to use my creative energy to manifest this pattern. I release it back to undifferentiated potential. This practice of conscious return represents perhaps the most efficient way to heal the ground of your subconscious. Just as a gardener must remove parasites and detoxify soil before planting valuable seeds, you must clear these invisible plagues from your consciousness before your prosperity programming can truly flourish. The wisdom keepers understood this principle with perfect clarity. You cannot sow gold in a poisoned field. What makes this understanding so revolutionary is that it shifts your entire approach to financial abundance. Rather than focusing exclusively on affirmations, visualizations, and other additive techniques, you recognize the equal importance of this subtractive work, the conscious releasing of what blocks your natural prosperity consciousness. The most effective approach combines both movements, releasing what doesn't serve while simultaneously planting what you wish to grow. As you continue exploring this ancient wisdom, begin practicing this conscious return during those crucial moments before sleep. When you notice a limiting thought about money arise, simply recognize, this isn't mine, and imagine releasing it back to the void, not with struggle or force, but with the simple withdrawal of your attention and belief. This act of conscious release creates space for your authentic prosperity consciousness to emerge and flourish without obstruction. If you feel drawn to this practice of returning what isn't yours to the void, write in the comments, "I release what isn't mine," as your declaration of reclaiming your energetic sovereignty. Now, I want to go even deeper into a crucial element of this wisdom that many overlook entirely. Once you've cleared the field of your consciousness and planted the golden seeds of prosperity, your work isn't complete. All planted wealth requires protection during its germination and growth phases. Just as a farmer who plants valuable crops doesn't leave them exposed to predators and thieves, but surrounds his fields with sturdy fences, you must similarly establish protection around your mental planting. This protection takes the form of what the ancient wisdom keepers called the invisible wall of conviction. Unlike physical barriers that can be seen and touched, this wall exists in the dimension of consciousness, created and maintained by your belief system. It's a boundary that prevents random thoughts, others' opinions, external circumstances, and momentary doubts from disturbing the precious seeds of abundance you've planted in your subconscious. What's fascinating about this invisible wall is that its strength doesn't come from effort or struggle. You don't build it through force of will or complicated mental techniques. The wall is generated naturally and effortlessly through one primary element, your unwavering conviction about what you've planted. The more unshakable your certainty, the more impenetrable this protective field becomes. This understanding transforms how you approach the entire process of nocturnal wealth programming. Many people diligently plant seeds of prosperity before sleep, but leave them completely unprotected, allowing random thoughts, news, headlines, others' doubts, or their own fears to trample these delicate seedlings before they have a chance to take root. Without the invisible wall of conviction, even the most powerful visualization practice or affirmation becomes vulnerable to countless invasive influences. The revelation that changes everything is that this wall isn't constructed with bricks, mortar, iron, or any physical material. It's built entirely from the unshakable certainty that what you've planted is already yours. In the dimension of completion, that it exists as finished reality in the realm of potential, simply awaiting its manifestation in your physical experience. This certainty creates a vibrational frequency that naturally repels anything inconsistent with your vision of prosperity. The masters who preserved this knowledge offered a perfect metaphor to understand the quality of consciousness required. Observe a small child who firmly clutches a toy and declares with absolute conviction, "This is mine." There's no hesitation in that declaration, no doubt, no concern about worthiness, no questioning of the right to possession. The child doesn't wonder if they deserve the toy or worry about losing it. There's only the pure, unwavering certainty of ownership. This is precisely the attitude your consciousness must adopt toward abundance. Not as something you're hoping to attract or trying to manifest, but as something that already belongs to you by natural right, as intrinsic to your experience as the air you breathe. This shift from seeking to knowing, from hoping to claiming, generates an energetic signature that the universe immediately recognizes and responds to. What makes this understanding so revolutionary is that it completely reframes what you're doing in those moments before sleep. You're not merely engaging in a positive thinking exercise or making a polite request to the universe. You're making a sovereign declaration about what rightfully belongs to you in the dimension of manifestation. You're claiming your abundance with the same unwavering certainty that a child claims their toy, not with arrogance or entitlement, but with the simple, direct knowing that comes from alignment with your true nature. This invisible wall of conviction serves multiple purposes in your prosperity consciousness. It prevents external doubts and limiting beliefs from contaminating your planting. It creates a protected space where your seeds can germinate without interference. Most importantly, it establishes a clear, energetic boundary that the universal intelligence recognizes as your defined field of creation, the area where you're exercising your sovereign right to manifest. The ancient texts describe this wall as a circle of fire that the initiate learns to create around their consciousness, especially before sleep. This fire doesn't burn or destroy. It simply defines the boundary between what is yours and what isn't, what you accept into your field, and what you reject. When this circle is clearly established through unwavering conviction, the seeds of prosperity receive perfect protection during their crucial growth phase. As you continue exploring this wisdom, begin paying attention to the quality of certainty you bring to your pre-sleep practice. Notice whether you're approaching abundance as something you hope might possibly occur under the right circumstances, or as something that already belongs to you by natural right, awaiting only your clear claim to manifest. This subtle but profound shift from seeking to claiming represents one of the most powerful transformations in your relationship with prosperity. The practice of building this invisible wall becomes remarkably simple once you understand its nature. Before sleep, after planting your golden seed and watering it with emotion, take a moment to declare with absolute certainty, "This prosperity is mine. This abundance belongs to me. These opportunities are already flowing toward me." Feel the unshakable knowing that accompanies these declarations, not as affirmations you're trying to believe, but as simple statements of what is already true in the dimension of completion. If this perspective awakens the sovereign creator within you, write in the comments, "I claim what is already mine," as your declaration of establishing this powerful boundary of conviction. Now, I want to explore one of the most practical and powerful techniques within this wisdom tradition, a method so simple yet profound that it transforms how your subconscious processes prosperity while you sleep. Once you've established your invisible wall of conviction, there's a final step that seals and secures everything you've planted, closing the door of your mind with what the ancients called a sacred phrase. This sacred phrase isn't complicated or lengthy. It's a short, powerful affirmation that acts as a final seal placed over the golden seed you've planted. Think of it as the lock on a treasure chest, the final protection that ensures nothing can disturb what you've established in consciousness before surrendering to sleep. Phrases like, "My wealth is growing right now," or "My money multiplies while I sleep," create this seal when spoken with absolute conviction. What makes these phrases so effective isn't their complexity, but their directness and simplicity. Their statements so clear and concise that your subconscious receives them without distortion or misinterpretation. They're not elaborate visualizations or complex instructions. They're simple commands that your deeper mind can follow with perfect fidelity throughout the night. The revelation that transforms this practice is understanding the specific timing of this sacred phrase seal. It should be the very last conscious thought before sleep overtakes you, the final impression delivered to your subconscious before your conscious mind surrenders control. This timing creates what the wisdom keepers called the perfect threshold moment, when the barrier between conscious and subconscious awareness is at its thinnest, allowing for direct programming without interference. Think about the revolutionary nature of this understanding. Most people drift into sleep with random thoughts, worries about tomorrow, or replaying events from earlier in the day. Their final conscious impressions are haphazard and unfocused, providing no clear direction to the powerful creative force of their subconscious. But when you deliberately choose a sacred phrase and make it your final thought before sleep, you're exercising precise control over the most influential programming moment in your entire day. The ancient texts describe this practice as placing a seal of authority over your manifestation, a declaration so clear and powerful that the universal intelligence immediately recognizes and responds to it. This seal doesn't require effort or strain to maintain. Once properly established with conviction, it remains active throughout your sleeping hours, continuously broadcasting its command to both your subconscious and the field of infinite possibility. This understanding leads us to another profound revelation preserved by the wisdom keepers. They described the effect of this sacred phrase as creating what they called the circle of inner fire, an invisible protection that can't be seen with physical eyes, but establishes an impenetrable boundary around your prosperity consciousness. This fire isn't destructive. It's the fire of pure creative intent that burns away anything inconsistent with your vision of abundance. The circle of inner fire represents one of the most advanced concepts in this entire tradition. It's not merely a psychological boundary, but an actual energetic phenomenon created by the alignment of your conscious intent with the creative force of your subconscious. When this alignment is established through the sacred phrase seal, it generates a field of coherent energy that naturally repels thoughts, emotions, and vibrations that would otherwise disrupt your prosperity programming. Those who mastered this art of establishing the circle of inner fire through sacred phrase sealing discovered something remarkable. They could sleep in absolute peace, completely surrendering to rest, knowing with unshakable certainty that nothing could harm or disrupt their spiritual harvest. This deep peace itself becomes a powerful component of the manifestation process, allowing for complete relaxation into the certainty of abundance rather than the tension of seeking or striving. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it works with the natural functioning of consciousness rather than against it. You're not fighting to maintain positive thinking throughout the night or struggling to control your dreams. You're simply establishing a clear directive at the perfect moment of transition, then allowing the natural intelligence of your subconscious to execute that directive while you rest completely. The practice becomes remarkably simple once you understand its mechanics. After planting your golden seed of prosperity and establishing your invisible wall of conviction, simply choose a sacred phrase that resonates deeply with you. As you feel sleep approaching, make this phrase your final conscious thought, speaking it inwardly with absolute certainty and feeling the seal it creates over everything you've established. Then surrender completely to sleep, trusting in the circle of inner fire to protect and nurture your prosperity throughout the night. This combination, golden seed, emotional watering, wall of conviction, and sacred phrase seal, creates the complete technology for nocturnal wealth creation. When applied consistently, it transforms your sleeping hours from passive rest into the most powerful manifestation period in your entire day. If you feel drawn to implement this sacred phrase sealing in your pre-sleep ritual tonight, write in the comments, "I seal my prosperity with sacred fire," as your declaration of activating this powerful protection for your abundance consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into the transformative power of consistency in this practice. What separates those who experience remarkable financial breakthroughs from those who see minimal results often isn't the technique itself, but the commitment to turning it into an unshakable habit. The wisdom keepers emphasize that occasional practice produces occasional results, while consistent practice creates consistent transformation. This protection habit follows a simple but powerful sequence. Plant your thought with clarity, water it with genuine emotion, and protect it with unwavering conviction. When you establish this sequence as a non-negotiable ritual before sleep, not something you do when you feel like it or remember it, but something as integral to your evening as brushing your teeth, you activate a profound shift in your relationship with prosperity. The revelation that transforms lives is understanding what happens when this sequence becomes fully habituated. Your subconscious mind, which thrives on pattern and repetition, begins to recognize this as your new default programming. It no longer requires the same level of conscious effort to establish the conditions for prosperity because the pathway becomes increasingly well-worn through consistent practice. What initially might have felt like deliberate work becomes as natural as breathing. When this protection habit is firmly established, something remarkable happens. Your subconscious begins working like a secret craftsman throughout the night, diligently multiplying your money without interruption or disturbance. While your conscious mind rests completely, this invisible artisan works tirelessly, reshaping your energetic relationship with abundance, reorganizing potential opportunities, and creating pathways for prosperity to flow toward you with increasing ease. The journey of mastery in this practice isn't about perfecting more complex techniques or learning more elaborate visualizations. It's about deepening your commitment to the fundamental sequence, allowing it to become so thoroughly integrated into your being that it operates with the same automatic precision as your heartbeat or your breath. This level of integration represents the true alchemy of consciousness transformation. But the wisdom keepers preserved an even more profound understanding about what happens once this protection habit becomes fully established. They taught that when the inner garden is properly prepared and protected night after night, something extraordinary begins to occur. Invisible forces appear that guard your planting with tireless vigilance. These forces were known as the guardians of abundance. These guardians aren't external entities or supernatural beings. They're aspects of your own consciousness that awaken and activate when you consistently engage in this prosperity programming. Think of them as specialized functions of your subconscious mind that, once activated through repetition, begin operating autonomously to ensure nothing interferes with the growth of your wealth consciousness. The guardians of abundance work silently each night, beyond the awareness of your conscious mind, to ensure nothing stops the growth of the prosperity you've planted. They function like an immune system for your financial consciousness, identifying and neutralizing threats before they can disrupt your abundance. They strengthen the boundaries of your inner garden, repair any breaches in your protective field, and continuously reinforce the energetic signature of prosperity you've established. What makes this understanding so revolutionary is that it reveals how your consciousness naturally evolves and specializes in response to consistent practice. You're not merely repeating the same technique night after night. You're actually developing increasingly sophisticated aspects of your consciousness that take on specialized functions in service to your prosperity. This represents a profound evolution in your relationship with abundance. The wisdom keepers observed that those who reached this stage of development, where the guardians of abundance had been fully activated, experienced a remarkable shift in their manifestation experience. Financial opportunities began appearing with such natural ease that they seemed almost magically aligned with their path. Resources arrived precisely when needed. Connections and relationships that supported their prosperity emerged seemingly from nowhere, all because these guardians were working tirelessly in the background, creating optimal conditions for abundance to flourish. The journey to activating these guardians begins with the simple commitment to the protection habit we've explored. Each night you follow the complete sequence, planting your golden seed, watering it with emotion, protecting it with conviction, and sealing it with your sacred phrase. You strengthen the signal that awakens these specialized aspects of your consciousness. Over time, they grow from fledgling impulses to fully autonomous functions that work with remarkable intelligence and precision. What's particularly fascinating about this stage of development is that these guardians continue working for you even on nights when your practice might be less focused or clear. Once fully established, They maintain their protective function with increasing independence, creating a perpetual cycle of prosperity that becomes your new baseline rather than a temporary state dependent on perfect practice. This understanding illuminates why some individuals seem to exist in a constant state of financial flow and opportunity, while others experience only occasional breakthroughs. The difference isn't luck or privilege, it's the consistent activation of these guardian functions through unwavering commitment to the protection habit. If you're feeling called to awaken these powerful aspects of your consciousness, write in the comments, "I am activating my abundance guardians," as your commitment to establishing this transformative presence in your prosperity journey. As we've journeyed together through this ancient wisdom, I'm curious about which aspects resonated most deeply with you. If these revelations about your mind's nocturnal power have awakened something within you, I'd love to hear your experiences as you begin applying these principles tonight. There's a beautiful community forming around these transformative insights. Subscribe to join us on this journey of discovery. Each week I share another piece of this hidden knowledge that has been kept from the masses for too long. The awakening happening right now isn't coincidental. You were guided to this message precisely when you needed it. If this wisdom has touched something deep within your consciousness, simply write "My golden seed is planted" in the comments. I read every comment personally and find incredible inspiration in hearing how these teachings are transforming lives around the world. If you found value in these revelations, a simple like helps this wisdom reach others who are ready for the same transformation you're experiencing. It's a small gesture that creates ripples of positive change as more minds awaken to their true prosperity potential. There's a video appearing right here that reveals the next level of this nocturnal wealth creation, the morning ritual that activates everything we've planted during sleep. Click it now to continue this journey with me and discover how to fully manifest what your subconscious has been cultivating while you rest.